Hi, I'm Robert Downey Jr. I have 6. That's the 6th one, and that was the Avengers cast tattoo. That happened the evening of the premiere for Infinity War. Scarlett got it first, then Chris Evans got it, then I got it, then Jeremy Renner got it, then Chris Hemsworth got it, even though he was a little tentative about it and seemed to overreact to the pain. And then Mark Ruffalo said, I'm not getting that tattoo. I don't want to be part of your Hollywood inside game. To which I applauded him.
Why this guy?
I'm trying to think of a clever answer about who was unavailable. But the truth is, all of us in Hollywood, every director knows this guy sitting next to me, who, for the listeners, is Robert Downey Jr., if they're not watching the picture. He's one of the greats. And, you know, of late, I've seen his superhero chops, his incredible charisma, amazing series of films, and he's become one of the great movie stars of our time. But for me, I really wanted to see him lose himself in a character and just show the world, and I wanted to be involved in that process of showing the world that he's just one of the great actors.
He called me and said, you are not Oppenheimer. Cillian is. And I said, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then, I went over to his house and read the script. Like you were saying, it's amazing to kind of play your antagonist, and it was bananas.
Were you able to pick through all the nuance on that first read?
The extraordinary thing about the script was it's written in the first person, right? Which is the first time I'd ever encountered that. So you realize then this is something different. And, you know, then he does this very clever thing in the movie, which, you know, the Oppenheimer sequences are in color, and then the Straw sequences are in black and white, so it's kind of subjective, objective, and that's just amazing.
Louis Lichtenstein Strauss, he was the head of the Atomic Energy Commission. He was a very conservative, patriotic American. He and Oppenheimer were verging on nemesis. He was a complicated guy, unlike me.
No, I'll just say that we didn't capture them in ADR. We used the real recordings. So,
See?
You know.
Can I tell you, we finally got something back from the BBC.
All this take with these interviews, and finally, here's the fact for you.
I don't quite know what to do with that fact, but it's interesting.
I'll stick it in your birthday card. Never forget, 3 miles long. So, yeah, okay, great.
I smell meme. Yep, that was a freebie. Not like Gwyneth Paltrow. I absolutely adore her like a sister. Like a sister that you may have made out with a few times. I'll still liking her.
That's for you.
Okay, I'd like to actually try this inverted, just to make this even more impossible. There we go, this is gonna work a fucking treat. It was an heroic effort watching you play this guy, man.
Well, I think you're very kind. No, I think that I guess I get embarrassed. There were, you know, when we were shooting in New Mexico, there was a lot of the guys were like Emily and Matt, and we're kind of living together. I think they were hanging out. I was in the bath learning lines.
Yeah, studying very, very hard. They were off gallivanting, and you were.
Well, he's like, you know, I'd love to like party, but I have to learn a lecture in Dutch.
Yeah.
He's not bad, is he? He's not bad.
I mean, you don't know the half of it, brother. Everything that has ever been done at the highest level on any other film I've ever done was all done simultaneously and then some. I came in to do ADR, where on a film of this scope, you usually have 3 days of work. He had one line. And it wasn't even a line that they didn't record correctly. It was a line that he wanted to add from a previous draft that he remembered, because nothing escapes him. It's bananas.
Yeah.
And you have to live it to believe it. But it's not about control. It's about his dedication to this art form and bringing it in the most powerful format possible.
What was Robert Downey Jr.'s first job?
My first job was working at the Indian Walk shoe store on Broadway and 83rd Street. I made it about 10 shifts before I was fired for my sticky fingers.
Is Robert Downey Jr. Tom Holland's godfather?
If by godfather you mean I do light yard work for him on Thursdays and detail his car every other Saturday, then yes.
About the number of cuts in this film, because what was the assembly for this?
As in how long?
How long?
I don't know whether I should admit this on Radio 1, but we don't really do an assembly. My editor, Jen Lame, Actually, second film I'd done with her, she came onto the film after we wrapped because she was busy on Wakanda Forever.
As you do.
So she came on, and we started working together with the dailies, which is a process I really enjoy. We go back to the beginning, we watch absolutely everything, and then we start to put it together, and it's a very, very complicated film to put together.
Yeah, isn't it just? I mean, I can only imagine. My mind blows just thinking about it.
Yeah, I look like my dad. Make sure I look like a weird old angry owl, and come in and try not to chew up the scenery.
What did Susan think of the shaved head?
She said that's hot.
Yeah.
IMAX is incredible, and realizing that IMAX has never had something like this, where literally new versions and iterations of how IMAX is even experienced, obviously are taken to this next level by Chris Nolan and co. But also just to see whether it's the Trinity test site or extreme close-up of Cillian as Oppenheimer, you're just like, you feel like you're standing next to something that's really happening in history. It was God's will. Well, and a pretty good screen test. But I'll really tell you what happened is the same weekend, I did a movie called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Jon Favreau did a movie called Zathura. They both tanked, and we were both really hungry to try to do something that would make an impact. And when Iron Man came out, everyone that knew me and loved me said, this will do until The Dark Knight comes out. And here we are now.
It's unusual for all the actors to be on location together, and we were shooting in this really remote location in the middle of the New Mexican desert, and there was one hotel and we were all together, and that doesn't happen. Normally everyone's in their own place, or you're shooting at home, or everyone's got their own house, and you don't hang out. And there was one restaurant. That was it.
It was like the dining hall. You'd go in and you'd see everybody, and so everyone would just end up sitting together.
I have one hobby, and that I take classic cars and I do eco-resto mods on them. Thus, take old cars and then make them more energy efficient and climate friendly.
We had a lot of fun just hanging around, for sure. But I think in terms of the work, it's such a safe environment, you know, to experiment and to try stuff out and to kind of make a fool of yourself. And he creates this really, kind of, it's like a laboratory. And the other thing is, I was thinking about it, no scene ever gets left behind. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. No scene is less important than another.
And in addition to playing this behemoth of a role, you hosted the experience for everyone. Anytime someone was coming in just to do a day, you'd be there, as stressed out as you might have been. Next scene you had to do was a bugger, and yet you always took the time. I felt like you and Chris made me feel welcome and safe right at the beginning. Yeah. And that's not easy to do when you're under duress. I remember when I read the script, I said, if this is realized, anything like it reads, it's gonna be bananas. And turns out, from the first 30 seconds, you're just like, whoa, you're just strapping in and getting ready for the blast off. And it's what happens, you know, for a film that is so, I think, historically relevant and genuinely entertaining. It's, I mean, it's like, you know, it's Hitchcock, it's Kubrick, it's all these weird kind of manipulations of your psyche and your heart and all that stuff. No, I'm a vegetarian, occasional pescatarian. If I start feeling lightheaded, I might have some shrimp. Or maybe a steelhead trout. No scallops, just for the halibut. I might occasionally, I like a bit of sole. I don't know why that means sole. I guess it's what goes beneath the surface. Huge film experience, but it feels very small and focused and kind of intimate when you're doing it, and I think that translates. There's also the onus is on you to rise to the occasion, and Chris tends to cast and collect folks around him that are as without ego as possible, while still having some self-respect and thinking they can get the job done. And so it was a journey into, it reminded me of back doing theater. It reminded me of, you know, what my first instincts and hopes and dreams were for being an actor. In a year where the level and magnitude of stunts may be at an all-time high, I am committing to do less stunts every year for the rest of my career. His pores?
Yeah, it's
I mean,
intense,
I
right?
say they're on the medium to small size. There's no big blackheads.
Beautiful skin. Beautiful skin.
It was, I mean, this, you gotta see this. I mean, we will, because we're about to fly around the world and have a lot of opportunities to watch audiences. All kinds of glasses. I love all glasses. And shameless plug, I'm probably gonna start my own glasses company. Do you wanna just go in tight on that? Design Exchange. They'll be out in probably 6, 9, 12, 16, 18 months, depending on my personality type.